Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we uncover the real stories behind those official corporate documents. And today we've got something from Legacy Education Incorporated that has got a few interesting tidbits, particularly about how they managed their last shareholder meeting. Before we dive deep, if you like getting these nonsense breakdowns of financial reports and corporate actions straight from the source, make sure you are subscribed. And if you are looking for even more in-depth discussions and a chance to connect with other curious minds, join our Discord community linked right down below in the description. So what we're looking at here is a Form 8K filing for Legacy Education Incorporated. Think of this as a company's way of telling the public about important events that happen outside of their regular financial reporting. It is like a news flash for investors. This particular report is dated the 16th of December 2025, and it covers an event that happened on that same day. The company we're talking about is Legacy Education Incorporated, or Legacy Education Incorporated as it might be spelled out if we were to be super precise. And this is all being filed with the US Securities and Exchange Commission, or SEC, which is the government body that oversees the stock market to make sure things are fair and transparent. Something notable right off the bat is that Legacy Education Incorporated is checking the box to be considered an emerging growth company. This means they're a relatively smaller public company, and they get to follow some less strict rules for financial reporting. They've also opted out of the extended transition period for new accounting standards, which means they'll be keeping up with the latest accounting rules as they come out. Just like the bigger companies. The main event detailed in this filing falls under item 5.07, which is all about how shareholders voted on important company matters. Essentially, this report tells us what happened at their annual shareholder meeting. On the 16th of December 2025, Legacy Education held its 2025 annual meeting of shareholders. This is where the people who own parts of the company, the shareholders, get to vote on key issues. They had a couple of main proposals on the agenda. To make sure the meeting was official, a quorum was needed. That means enough of the company's shares had to be represented, either by shareholders showing up in person or by giving their voting power to someone else through a proxy. They had over 7.7 million shares represented, which is a good turnout and means the decisions made are legitimate. So what did the shareholders vote on and decide? Two main things happened. First, all 6 current members of the company's board of directors were re-elected. These are the people responsible for guiding the company. They'll be in charge until the next annual meeting or until new directors are chosen. Second, the shareholders approved or ratified the company's choice of L.J. Soldinger Associates LLC or Soldinger as their independent auditors. These are the accountants who check the company's financial books to make sure everything is in order. This appointment is for the fiscal year ending in June of 2026. Let's break down Proposal 1, the election of the directors. As expected, all 6 director nominees were elected. This means the shareholders have confidence in the current leadership team to steer the company. Looking at the results, Leanne Roman received a strong 4,273,990 votes in favour. This shows significant shareholder support for her continued role on the board. Gerald Amato also secured a good number of votes, with 3,943,624 in favour. Blaine Faulkner garnered 4,249,806 votes for them. Peggy Tiedemann had 4,168,096 votes in favour. And Zway J. Marshall received a very impressive 5,347,335 votes in favour. This is a particularly high number compared to some of the others, indicating very strong backing from shareholders. Janice Paulson also saw tremendous support with 5,344,545 votes in favour. Similar to Mr. Marshall, this shows a clear preference from investors for her continued presence on the board. It is important to note the broker non-votes column. These are shares held by a broker for a client where the client did not provide voting instructions. While these shares are counted for quorum, they don't count for or against a proposal unless the broker has specific instructions. The consistent number of over 2.3 million broker non-votes for each director nominee suggests a large block of shares where proxy voters had no instruction, which is quite common. The key takeaway here is that for the directors who received the most votes, they clearly had substantial majority support from the actual voting shareholders. Now, let's move on to Proposal 2, which was the ratification of the independent auditors, L.J. Soldinger Associates. Companies need external auditors to give an unbiased opinion on their financial statements. The shareholders overwhelmingly approved the appointment of Soldinger, with a whopping 7,466,228 votes in favour. This is a massive endorsement, meaning almost all the votes cast were in agreement. Only 313,781 votes were cast against this appointment, and a small number, just 11,179, abstained from voting. This result clearly indicates that the shareholders are comfortable with Soldinger's role in overseeing the company's financial accuracy for the upcoming fiscal year. The filing is then signed off by authorized personnel. In this case, Leanne Roman, who is also the Chief Executive Officer. This signature confirms the authenticity of the report as of the date of the filing. So, what is the story here? Legacy Education Incorporated held its annual shareholder meeting, and the shareholders voted to keep the existing board of directors in place with strong support for most of them, and overwhelmingly approved the choice of their independent auditors. This signals a desire for stability and continuity within the company's leadership and its financial oversight. Now, looking at this from a broader perspective, this filing doesn't give us deep financial numbers like revenue or profit, which you'd find in a 10Q or 10K. What it does tell us is about the governance of the company, which is the foundation of any business. The strong re-election of directors, especially for Miss Marshall and Miss Paulson, suggests that the active shareholders are happy with the current direction and governance. The near unanimous approval of the auditors is also a positive sign, indicating trust in the transparency of their financial reporting. However, without the actual financial performance data, it is hard to assess the company's strategic health or its competitive position. We don't know if the company is growing, shrinking, or facing significant challenges. The existence of over 2.3 million broker non-votes in the director elections, while common, does mean that a substantial portion of outstanding shares didn't actively participate in the director vote. This could point to a shareholder base that is perhaps less engaged, or where beneficial ownership is spread across many small accounts without specific voting instructions. One potential risk is always the dependence on the existing leadership. While strong support is good, a board that doesn't face much opposition can sometimes become complacent. The fact that they are an emerging growth company means they have flexibility, but also means they might be more susceptible to market volatility or competitive pressures that bigger, more established companies can weather more easily. In conclusion, based on this specific 8K filing, Legacy Education Incorporated appears to have navigated its annual shareholder meeting smoothly, with shareholders endorsing their current board and auditors. This suggests a period of stability and a vote of confidence in the existing leadership structure. However, the real story of the company's success or struggles lies beyond this governance. Focused report in its financial performance and strategic execution, which we don't have access to here. Alright? That is our breakdown of Legacy Education Incorporated's latest filing. What is your take on these shareholder meeting results and what they might signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this deep dive into corporate documents valuable, hitting that like button really helps us out, and of course subscribe so you don't miss our future analyses. And remember, for more discussions and to connect with us and other viewers, join our Discord server, linked in the description. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next Decode.